So in this video, it is my objective to help you shatter as many self-limiting beliefs as you can about your own awkwardness. And honestly, convince you that maybe up until this point you've been being incredibly unkind to yourself and beating yourself up over things that haven't really been in your control about what you perceive as awkward behaviors. Because this was me for 10 years, man. Like, I truly hated this part of myself. I looked at myself as having a boring or weird personality on a fundamental level, as being too introverted for most people, that I should just kind of just not look to go to social events or try and make new friends, because that's just kind of incompatible with who I am as a person. I look at other people and think, for some reason, and maybe I'll never know why, I just don't communicate like them. I don't communicate the same as everyone else. There's just something wrong with me. And that was until maybe the last year of learning, where I really began to understand what's really going on. Like, this will be a truly, I don't see people talking about this online. That's the thing. This is really going to help some people, and I just want to get this out as much as possible. For starters, you are not awkward. You are not awkward. You're just stuck in survival mode. So what do I mean by that? So I first learned about this concept through one of my mentors. And this is going to seem a little bit unrelated at first, but just be patient, because I will get to the point. So I brought in this guy to help me when I was going through a bit of a rut with my YouTube channel. So I've been making videos for years, and I'd made at least 100 videos at this point, but the process was becoming very, very unenjoyable. I'd work for days and days finishing off these scripts. I used to type my scripts out word by word, trying to make these perfectly polished videos. And the entire process just felt terrible. I get so extremely burnt out. I lost all of the joy of making videos. And eventually I'd sit down and I'd just kind of get a bit of a headache. I'd think I'd find it impossible to think of new ideas or be creative. It just took all the joy out of YouTube. So I brought in this guy, my mentor, specifically to help me overcome that procrastination, because that's what I viewed it as at the time. I thought, I'm just being lazy. The only thing holding me back from making videos is my motivation. I'm just not disciplined enough to get these videos done. And I was looking for him to teach me techniques to help me overcome that. And he did teach me some good techniques, but these problems didn't go away. I still just really struggled being consistent on YouTube. And he first introduced this idea to me it wasn't even a year ago, it was 6 months ago now. That maybe if I'm sitting down at my desk and immediately starting to feel burnt out, I'm getting a headache, literally at the sight of my laptop, before I've even written a single word on the page, maybe that's not to do with me being lazy. Maybe that's not really my own fault. Maybe there's something deeper going on here. And this is where he introduced the idea of the nervous system to me, which is just knowledge of this part of the body has changed my life. So basically what he explained to me was, oftentimes when we have quite complex emotional reactions to certain situations, like me sitting down at my laptop and just feeling terrible, burnt out, stressed, depressed. He said oftentimes we're not reacting to what's in front of us, we're reacting to the past. Because you see, our nervous system is responsible. It's responsible for lots of things, but the way I'd explain it to you is it's responsible for avoiding pain. detecting threats in our environment that could do us harm, whether it's physical danger or emotional danger, is there scanning our environment constantly for things which could cause us harm, and it's our nervous system's job to get us out of that situation before that harm can come to us. Like, you've probably heard of like fight or flight. Fight being like this being like your nervous system. Like fight being like, I'm going to protect myself from whatever physical threat is here so I don't get hurt. And flight being like anxiety. So fight is the anger and anxiety is the flight. It's like, I'm going to leave before I can get hurt. And this is what survival mode is. Survival mode is the state your body goes into when it detects that danger in your environment. When it detects some kind of threat that can do you harm. But the thing is, our nervous system is so complicated that it can literally trigger survival mode at like the most like small unsuspecting things. Like me sitting down in front of my laptop for some reason triggered this survival mode state where I'm starting to feel like tense. I would almost describe the feeling as like my body is like stiff, as if I expect someone to punch me. Something like that. I'm getting that reaction from sitting down in my laptop. I'm in survival mode. But what's really going on is my nervous system, and yours too, is so well advanced, is so good at its job, that it's not just protecting you from like harm that could happen right now. It's looking to the past. It's looking at memories, not like normal memories, not like images. It's looking at these emotional memories of times where you felt some negative emotion in the past, some deep shame, embarrassment, humiliation. It could be any of those things. And it's telling you, anything that even vaguely reminds me of that, anything whatsoever that reminds me of the pain I felt back then, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, decades ago, I'm going to put you in survival mode because you need to be alert here. Something could go wrong here. And this is what was going on with like my whole productivity issue. When I was feeling like not so good about like the writing, like slaving away writing these YouTube videos for ages, pushing myself through like exhaustion, burnout, all of these things just to get a video out, I was ignoring those signs that my nervous system was telling me. I was pushing through this danger. So now my nervous system is so sensitive to that even just looking at my laptop is enough to make me feel bad, because it's trying to help me avoid that pain, but I've just been forcing through it, and that's not done me any good. It all comes from pushing myself through that danger, forcing myself through that danger, running from what I'm truly feeling, if that makes sense. And this was really eye-opening to me, because I was like, this does make sense. I spent so many days, so many like weeks in a row just pushing myself through burnout, through negative emotions, without really acknowledging like that's what I was feeling. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this learning I did, this really started to make everything else fall into place in the rest of my life. And a big part of this was my awkwardness. Because I used to be the textbook awkward guy. I used to find conversations so much more stressful than uncomfortable, especially around new people. I just found it impossible to relax in social situations. I'd feel like so tense and uncomfortable in my body, panicking, overthinking the whole time, getting all hot and flustered, making mistakes. I'd be speaking to someone and I'm so scared of running out of things to say that I'm not even listening to them. I'm thinking of like the next 3 things in my head to say it in advance so there's no awkward silence. That is how much I was in survival mode during my conversations. And I never realized that these things which I blame myself for doing, like why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just communicate like other people? These symptoms of awkwardness, these are all symptoms of a bigger problem, which is not feeling safe in your body. My nervous system was putting me in survival mode in these social situations as a way of telling me there's something you need to be like careful of here. There's some kind of danger. I'm getting this anxiety, these anxiety waves pumping through my body, which is my body telling me to get the hell out of there because you could be under threat of some kind of harm. And I'm almost like pushing myself through it. I'm trying to ignore it, which is what I've always done, even though that would lead to me just beating myself up like 2 hours later. Like, why did I say that? Why did I make so many mistakes? When in reality, it feels like everything is working against me. And that is all because, just like what was happening with my productivity, my nervous system is not reacting to right now, this person in front of me. It's reacting to the past. It's reacting to past social situations that went badly. It's as simple as that. I'm not just saying they went badly. It could have been all kinds of negative feelings. Rejection. Getting laughed at, getting mocked, getting bullied. All of these things that felt so bad at the time that my nervous system decided to store all of this up to the point that anything that even vaguely reminds me of that, or there's a chance of that happening, I get put on high alert. And this is the thing that I just really, 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 really want you to like take into account. I probably should have said this a little bit earlier, but this really is the thing that like, honestly, it makes me want to cry because the amount of shit I gave myself for all of like these awkward behaviors when it wasn't even like my fault. I didn't even know what was going on. When you're in survival mode, there's like a unique thing that tends to happen in social situations, which is most of the awkward symptoms you experience, they are not you. They're not who you are. They are as a result of feeling like you are in danger. When you can't think of what to say next, that's because your brain has turned off your creativity centers, your humor centers. The things you would use to keep a conversation going, they're gone. Because the only thing that matters in this situation is your body's ability to keep itself alive. Anything else gets put to the side. When you're feeling tense and awkward in your body, so anxious that you could be sick, these are all survival mode symptoms. Survival mode doesn't care about you coming across as likable or charismatic or funny or charming. It doesn't care how you perform in a conversation. It cares about keeping you alive. That's the priority. It's like popularity here, survival is higher. Survival will always be higher to your body. But when there's not any real danger, when you're reacting to the past, that's kind of the tragedy of all of it, because so many of these things that I beat myself up for, they just came from not feeling safe. And that's what I want to get through to you, because when you're with your friends, when you're with people who you trust, you don't experience any of these symptoms. And your personality is naturally able to flow out. You don't have conscious thoughts about like, what am I going to say next? Or where am I going to take this conversation? Everything feels relaxed and natural and easy. And that's because you're feeling safe. You're not in survival mode. So you can't blame yourself when you feel these range of symptoms, because usually it's just you reacting to the past. It's something that's gone on like years and years ago, making you feel this way. But that is not you. So if you want to delve into this a little bit more, I'm actually offering like free coaching calls at the moment. I'm not looking to get anything out of it other than just getting to know some of you guys a little bit better. Helping out my community with these specific kind of problems, which really mean a lot to me. So if that's something you'd be interested in, book a free call with me from the link in my bio, half an hour, and I'll see if I can help you. Take care, man. I'll see you in the next one.